Guys, James Carter TV here to recap the second day of the NFL Combine workouts. I did not recap the first day because not much happened on the first day, but I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of this video. But we are going to talk about the second day, specifically the second day of the workouts, because I know this is actually technically day 4 or whatever, but who cares about the first couple days? They're weighing in, they're doing bench press for running backs and quarterbacks, and who cares? This is what we're talking about. We're talking about field drills. We're talking about, can you go out here and can you impress? And I'm sorry, I'm not very impressed today. Now, some people did impress me. Some prospects came out and they participated well. They did well. But overall, the offensive side of the ball in this year's draft is very, very, very lackluster, specifically when it comes to quarterback, specifically when it comes kind of to wide receiver. Now, I do think that there are some nice wide receivers out here. I'm going to get into that. But, man, the key and the buzzword today is slow when it comes to the wide receivers. So let's start with the wide receivers. They were slow today. I mean, this is one of the slowest crops of wide receivers I've ever seen. Mike Mayock says it's the slowest crop of wide receivers he's ever seen, so we'll just go by his reference frame. I mean, this was an absolute shocking as to how slow a lot of these guys were. Specifically, let's talk about the guys that were really shocking to me. Braxton Miller puts up a 4.50. Now, this isn't a very slow time, but it's slower than what we thought he would be. And also, moreover than that, you saw him during the drills. He was falling down. He was dropping a couple catches after a strong Senior Bowl. Did not like what I saw from Braxton Miller. But the good thing is that because he has such a strong Senior Bowl week, it kind of offsets because we've seen him at his best, and we've analyzed him in practice and all of that, so we've seen that he can be good, but just a little slower than I would have liked to have seen. Moreover than that, we have Michael Thomas, a guy that I liked, ran a 4.57. Now, I like this one more because I can pull up plays to you. I can show you plays where I can say, look at Michael Thomas just burn this cornerback. Look at Michael Thomas just burn this guy and that guy. He didn't run many 9 routes, and this is something that I said. Although there were a couple, and he would do a stutter step to beat the wide receiver, or to beat the cornerback, and to pass up the cornerback, and to beat the cornerback, the defensive back, the safety, whatever. He was a guy that I said made a lot of his catches in the 20-yard range. Didn't really have to go deep, and now we know why, because he lacks that ultimate deep speed. There are also some guys that I liked a lot today. And Josh Doctson continues to be one of my favorite wide receiver prospects. He was my second heading into this combine. He might be the first. And for those of you that followed me since the beginning of my scouting report process, I had Laquan Treadwell rated very highly, an 87, future Pro Bowl talent level player. Josh Doctson is rising to that area. I mean, guys, we're talking about a guy that is very athletic, had a 41-inch vertical jump today, had a 10 over, I think it was like a 10.5 broad jump today. He measures in at 6'2", over 200 pounds. Still needs to put on some weight, but already over 200 pounds, so not too much more weight, but, just maybe like 10 more pounds, sure. This guy catches the ball so well. I mean, a drop percentage of 3% over his career at TCU. You're telling me he's a great athlete. You're telling me he has length. His arms were 33.5 inches. You're telling me great hands, great athlete, great height. This is a great prospect. The only problems that I have with this prospect is his run blocking is non-existent, and he just needs to put on a little more weight. But this is a mid-first round talent, almost a top 10 talent to me. So people need to give Josh Doctson a lot more respect. Will Fuller, who I haven't done a scouting report for yet, I will this week, because this guy proved today that he can catch the football. Burning speed, ran a 4.32. 40 today, absolutely just burning speed. Now we know he can catch. Now we know he has natural hands. Now, in games, he's not physical enough. He got shut down almost by Mackenzie Alexander because he wasn't physical at the point of attacking the ball. He's a guy that just needs to be open. If it's a 50-50 ball, you don't like your chances. But if he's open, he's going to catch it. We saw that today. Will Fuller looks more and more like a first-round prospect, while Braxton Miller, Michael Thomas, Laquan Treadwell. Now, Laquan Treadwell it was not as athletic as I would have liked to have believed. His 40, he didn't run the 40 today. He declined. He's going to run the 40 at his pro day. How bad is his 40? I mean, I think he's going to run a 4.6 at his pro day. So what was it going to be if he ran today? A 4.7? So that's a little concerning. He did show up huge. I mean, this guy is big, actually. I didn't know he was this big. I knew he was big. I knew he was physical, but man, he's huge, actually. He has a mature body. I mean, he's already one of the stronger. The minute he enters the NFL, he's going to be one of the stronger receivers in the NFL. Look at this guy today. He's 6'2", 221. I thought he was going to be 212. It ended up being 221 today. Looked absolutely huge. Looked like Calvin Johnson out there. I mean, so you like the physique, you like the build. What's up with his speed? His broad jump is unimpressive. His vertical is unimpressive. Not as athletic as I thought, while Josh Doctson has better hands, is a better athlete. I think Josh Doctson might actually be better. The one thing Laquan Treadwell does have for him instead of Josh Doctson is Josh Doctson's weaknesses are Laquan Treadwell's strengths, and that is run blocking, and that is strength and size. An interesting juxtaposition there. I'm not sure who's going to end up being my number one wide receiver as we end this process, but man, it's getting interesting between those two. Tyler Boyd showed up and had a nice day today. For the most part, he's slower than I thought. I was disappointed in his 40 time. Mike Mayock and Bucky Brooks were saying that they were okay with his 40 time today. I wasn't. I wanted to see it be a 4.5. I mean, we're talking about a guy that has nice hands. He's a little skinnier than we would like. He caught a lot of balls out of the backfield. In terms of can he be a number one wide receiver, I don't see it. I mean, I see it with a Josh Doctson. I see it with a Will Fuller now. I see it with Laquan Treadwell. I'm not sure if I see number one wide receiver with Tyler Boyd. He's going to have to improve his route running. I don't think it's very good right now. I think it's fine, but I think he's going to have to improve that. He's going to have to win with that because the speed isn't good enough. I mean, now the speed... We'll see. I mean, again, you do have guys. Now, this is the thing. Everyone loves to say this. Okay, remember Alshon Jeffrey's time. Remember Keenan Allen's time. Remember these guys, Anquan Bolden. These guys had bad 40s, and they were just fine. For those three guys that everyone loves to reference and say, look at these guys, their speeds didn't matter. I can tell you 50 guys whose speeds mattered. Mike Evans went a 4.53. Odell Beckham went a 4.43. Sammy Watkins went a 4.3 something. Julio Jones went a 4.3 something. Calvin Johnson went a 4.3 something. Darnell Hopkins went a 4.4 something. Dorial Green Beckham went a 4.4 something. Torrey Smith went a 4.3 something. Deshaun Jackson went a 4.3 something. You can tell me those three guys all you want. I'll tell you 50 who ran under a 4.55. And it mattered. And they are the best receivers in the NFL today. And Antonio Brown is another guy. Okay, that's four guys that you could say, look at these guys. They didn't have great 40 times, and they're good wide receivers. But that's it. That's all you're going to be able to tell me. Well, I'll tell you 50 guys who ran great 40 times and are great wide receivers in the NFL. And this thing kind of matters, people. It kind of matters. So, with that said, let's get into the quarterbacks. Now, I'm going to reference Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota today. Because last year, I was a Tennessee Titans fan. Well, actually, I still am a Tennessee Titans fan. But I was a Tennessee Titans fan that was looking at these two quarterbacks in Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota. And these guys killed the combine. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there was no issues, no trouble, no inaccurate passes, none. I mean, zero. I mean, these passes were accurate. The deep balls, the 50, 60-yard balls to the receivers that they've never played with were absolutely perfect. They were on a freaking dime. The receivers didn't have to adjust to anything. The quarterbacks today are nowhere near those two. I mean, these quarterbacks today, first to start with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was the best among them. I do believe this. He did show some nice things. He had a clunker. He had a clunker throw on I believe, a post route during the post route session. It was an absolute clunker. It was horrible. And this is something I see on film. There's always that occasional clunker throw, like a Joe Flacco, who I compared him to, like a Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I compared him to, where you're like, what was that? And so you saw that today. Paxton Lynch, I was not impressed with Paxton Lynch today at all. You heard Mike Mayock trying to talk him up. Oh, he has this arm strength. He has great size. Why are we talking about this guy? I need to do a scouting report. I need to look more film at this guy. I think he's just the old quarterback. I don't think he's very good. I didn't see much today. I thought his footwork was awkward and slow. I thought his release was fine. That was the best part of it all. Not impressed with Paxton Lynch. Jared Goff, he looked fine. It doesn't look very athletic at all. I mean, is that a big thing? No, I guess not, but not very impressive physically. His arm looked fine. But these guys are nowhere near a Jameis Winston and a Marcus Mariota. I mean, I'll be shocked, really shocked, if 10 years down the road, two of these guys are starting. I think there's going to be one, and that might be stretching it. I mean, if you're looking for a quarterback in this class, I'm sorry. I'm not seeing it. Carson Wentz, I think, has the best chance, and I think 10 years from now, I think he'll be starting. I think he'll be like a Matthew Stafford. I think he'll be like a Joe Flacco, where he will not be a top 10 quarterback. Maybe occasionally he can get into the conversation a little bit, but then immediately drop out yet again because we realize, yeah, he's not. But if he can win games, if he can be clutch, if he can have a nice team around him, maybe he can win a Super Bowl. Maybe you can win a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz. Connor Cook, I do not love. I think he's Jake Locker. I think he has a strong arm. Except Jake Locker, but an asshole version because no one likes him. The teammates say they like him. Their actions say otherwise. Has some nice mobility, but inaccurate. And I don't like Connor Cook. Christian Hackenberg, I think this one has a shot. I liked his throws today. I think he may have been the best thrower today. Maybe next to Carson Wentz. Although I do not like his completion percentage out of college, I think with Christian Hackenberg, he's a reclamation project. Can we take a guy who was considered to be a really good coming out of high school, went to college, did not progress at all, did not get better. He didn't. If anything, he got worse. Can we take him and can we fix him? Can we fix Christian Hackenberg? That's the conversation these scouts need to have. Cardale Jones looked fat. He had a hammy during his 40-yard dash, didn't do anything. I like Dak Prescott more than people are talking about. And Jacoby Brissett interests me as well. Trevor Boykin looked out of shape. I thought I expected more from him. We're in a 4.78. Forget it. If you can't even run, the kid can't throw. The kid, now you're telling me he can't run. Get him out of my face. So, there's the quarterbacks. Now, really quick, let's talk about the running backs. Yesterday, Ezekiel Elliott, who, if you watch my scouting report on him, I'm not in love like everyone else. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to go into the NFL. I think he'll be a top 10 running back. I don't think he's going to be top 5. I don't think he's going to be a guy like Arian Foster, Jamal Charles, Marshawn Lynch, Adrian Peterson, guys that can create, guys that can make hella plays, amazing plays, fantastic plays, great plays. I think he'll make good plays. I think he'll maybe a top 10 guy just because, well, he gets the ball enough. Like a Lamar Miller, who's good. Matt Forte, who's good. These are good running backs. Are they top 5? Are they guys that change a franchise? Like a Todd Gurley, who even Todd Gurley can't win that many games on his own. I don't think so. I think he did well. Derrick Henry, okay, he had a nice 40 time. This is the thing about Derrick Henry. I'm going to come up with a scouting report soon. Everyone wants to say that he's a power back. What are you people talking about? Derrick Henry is not a power back. He might be 6'2", and he might be 247 pounds. He doesn't play like it. This is Derrick Henry's game. He runs inside a lot, and once he can get some open space, he actually runs away from folks. If anything, he's a guy that relies in the open space and the straight line speed. He has good straight line speed. He ran a 4.52. I mean, look at the Alabama plays. You see him. The hole opens up, and he hits the hole. He's not a big shifty guy. He's not a boom, just going into space guy. If he's just hitting into guys, he's not getting extra yardage. Ezekiel Elliott is more of a power back than Derrick Henry is. The only thing that's powerful about Derrick Henry is his weight and his height. And even his height, you want a small power back. I think he's a guy that just finds a hole and hits it, and that's it. I mean, I don't think there's much to like about Derrick Henry beyond that. He's going to need a good offensive line to be successful, and if he doesn't have a good offensive line, you're screwed. And you can say that about any damn running back in the damn NFL. So, real quick before I end this video, weigh-ins. Let's talk about weigh-ins just a little bit. So, Jalen Ramsey, this guy weighed in at 209 pounds. Huge. I mean, I expected more. I expected him to be like 202 pounds, so this is a lot more than I was expecting. And he wants to run the fastest he's ever run. So, we're talking about a guy that's bigger than we thought, and maybe he'll be faster than we thought. And I think he's worth the #1 overall pick. Joey Bosa checked in at 269 pounds. I tried to tell people, go back to my scouting report on Joey Bosa. I said again and again and again and again, he is not a 5 technique. He is not a 3-4 defensive end. This is an edge rusher. He's going to have to put on 20 freaking pounds to play 3-4 defensive end. Forget it. He's going to be fat. He's going to be lazy. He's already lazy enough, to be honest with you. If you want to put on another 20 pounds, forget it. He is not Muhammad Wilkerson. He's not Sheldon Richardson. He's not. He's an edge rusher. That's what he is. Put him on 3-4-3 defensive end or 3-4 outside linebacker. That's where he is. That's where he fits. I think that's pretty much it. All right, guys, so comment down below your takeaways from day 3 and day 2. I mean, anything else I didn't talk about today? Well, I liked this kid. What was his name? Let me check his name real quick. The wide receiver from Cal. The guy no one knows. Like, who is this guy? We need to do more research on this guy as a collective group of scouts. This guy just snuck up on us. Trevor Davis out of Cal looked interesting today. Ran a 4.42. Had nice hands during the drills. I need to look more at this guy. He looked like a 3rd round, 4th round guy. So look out for that. You know that I like Sterling Shepard. Actually, I like him a lot. And everyone else, you see, I just want to focus on the big prospects, to be honest with you. I'm not a big guy that delves into rounds 4 through 7 because I don't have time. But these are guys that just caught my eye today. Caleb Jones, the Trevor Davis I talked about, Sterling Shepard. I was disappointed with Rashard Higgins. I was disappointed with Braylon Addison. Marquez North looks the part, looks like Tarzan, but plays like Jane. That's the problem with him, but maybe he can finally figure it out down the road. Darunya Wilson, what a horrible 40 time. 4.85. You go ahead and give up and forget it. You better put on 20 more pounds to play tight end, kid, because you're done. Oh, and speaking of the tight ends, they didn't do anything. The only one that did anything was Austin Hooper. Evan Ingram wasn't there. Hunter Henry didn't run and then didn't look good in the workouts. So Packer fans have been saying they want Hunter Henry. You might need to reevaluate that because he did not look very good today at all. And that's pretty much it. So comment down below your takeaways from days 2 and 3 of the Combine. Day 2 to me. Anyway, until next time, James Carter TV, I'm out. Peace.